Hello there, everybody. I'm Dan Grigg, CEO of Harney District Hospital, and welcome to our second episode of Some Good News Harney District Hospital. Last week we published our first edition, and I've received some great feedback and really appreciate everybody who watched it and had a chance to comment on it, give me some feedback. If you recall, we had a visit on that episode with Tori Schmidt and Jessica Quant, who had donated for us the banner that's now sitting out on our front yard. They put the banner up on Friday, and if you haven't had a chance to get up close and look and see the many notes that are on it, please take a minute. There's a great note to EVS. There's a great note to so many other folks of our organization. Really appreciate, again, Tori and Jessica donating that and getting that set up for us. So if you haven't seen it, go out and take a look. Also on Friday, we had a visit from the National Guard, the Oregon National Guard. They came and they delivered and they set up this nice big tent that you see out right outside our front entrance right now.
This is the isolation tent being delivered and set up by the Oregon Army National Guard. And we're very thankful that they're doing that because it's a big piece of equipment to set up.
This tent is going to be critical if we do have a surge of COVID-19 patients. It's in this tent where we would assess and take a look at those patients who are ill or potentially infectious, and then even treat them. It's a pretty amazing tent. It's got a hard floor, it's got air conditioning and heating, and it's going to be a negative pressure tent once we get the unit that sucks the air outside and keeps people safe inside. So really excited to have that tent. If you haven't seen it, take a step outside and take a look at it. It's a great addition. It'll stay here in Central Oregon, Eastern and Central Oregon when we're done with it. So we have use of it for now and as long as we need it. Thank you, Perry Lynn, for getting that for us. Now, you might have noticed that masks are becoming a big thing and a part of our daily life. We made the decision earlier this week to encourage everybody to wear a mask, even whether it's the fabric mask for the non-patient care folks or for the surgical or procedural masks for those that do care for patients. And now that should be a daily part of our life, wearing the mask when we're in an area where we're around other people. Some of you might think that this is new, that nobody could have seen this coming. But guess what? There was somebody who predicted it. It's the Dread Pirate Roberts. Now, some of you might remember he was around back in the 1980s. So this was in the 1980s. He made that prediction that this would become part of our everyday life. So shout out to you, Dread Pirate Roberts. You nailed it, clear back in the 1980s. Now, the other thing that people are focusing on is the fashion of the masks. Who knew that there'd be so many different varieties of masks out today? Yes, there's even this one from our friend Bane on the Batman movies. That's pretty creative, don't you think? Hey, I'd like to give a special shout out to Lori Addison from Infinite Electronics in Southern California. Lori is Darby Kemper's cousin and Brett Basut's cousin, and she has been able to secure for us 5,000 surgical and procedural masks for us to use for our caregivers. And then also several of the face shields from one of their plants in Idaho. And it's a pretty cool story. Lori's company, they distribute electronic goods throughout the United States and the world, and they have a connection to a plant in China that were making these masks. And they sent Lori's company a big shipment, and rather than just give it to the big hospitals, they said, who really needs it? And Lori, working with Darby, was able to get some of those here at our hospital. I had a Zoom call with them the other day with Lori and her bosses, and just an amazing story. The fact that they cared enough about us to share those masks with us, definitely good news, and can't tell you how much I appreciate Darby hooking us up with Lori's group, the company, and everything that they've done. So another piece of great news. Please tell Darby thanks next time you see her. And on another note of good news, we found out that St. Charles is willing to share with us 100 cartridges for the rapid testing for COVID-19. And those arrived yesterday on Tuesday, and Mike Haynes was able to calibrate the machine and get it up and running. Mike has also informed us that there's another shipment coming in next week of those tests, so we should be good for a while on the rapid tests. Really appreciate St. Charles stepping up and getting us some early shipment. They got a large shipment themselves last week and were kind enough to give us 100 of those tests on loan, and then as we get our new shipment, we'll pay those back. But one of the biggest barriers that we've had in moving forward and getting surgeries going again is being able to test patients. So what's been a 5 to 7 day delay getting results back, now we'll go down to 45 minutes. So really excited about that. Appreciate Mike's hard work on that, St. Charles's support, and the new shipment that we should be getting next week from Suffield. We'll see you next week for episode 3 of Some Good News, Harney District Hospital.